Sometimes we forget why we're here. It's easy to fall off track. These help us remember.
These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Growing up, I had a dream, something no one else could see. Tell me what it means when your faith is falling beneath your knees and you can't breathe. Everything you see reminds you of what you're not or something you won't be. You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business. Not because they wanna do it, just because they heard it pays. And who the fuck wants to be poor knowing that's how we've been raised? Society is getting heavy, I can feel the weight. The pressure of success is like 100 million pounds of shame. And that's the reason I'm staying up late, trying to find a way to escape the stereotypes this day and age is making me feel like the only way I'll be happy is getting signed to a label and making money through rapping. I wanna share my emotion because this world is attacking the very principle of life that lets the people be happy. If you don't have a reason to breathe, why even live? These battle scars are impressions of everything that it is.
Scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Now if I had a voice that reached 100 million people, I'd tell them there's a reason that we're all created equal. Cause some decide to be great and some decide a sequel to an average person's life is simply what they want to be. So you make your decision, all I know is what I'm given. Won't define the life I lead or the way I dwell in existence. I've seen a greater image on the walls of where I'm living, and the words twisted and scripted remind me of something written. Faith is a gift that is given down to the people. If one believes it, one receives it. It's given if it is needed. Don't ever think you're trapped in a life that you never wanted. Your options are infinite, that's some mathematical logic. I'm not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers and these battle scars on my church. Not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers, these battle scars on my church.
Scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Oh boy. Okay. This is on the wrong side. Let me move that over. There we go. And God, my head is huge. I I switched around my camera. I feel like you can see all my pores. We need to zoom out a little bit here. This is a bit too much. This is a bit much. And I'm realizing my Lady Liberty should be on the other side. See, let's just hide this screen share for a second. You can see I've got a beautiful Lady Liberty statue here. But you can't see it with the comments. But we're going to leave the comments for now. And I'll do some more screen rearranging. But I notice if I zoom, I'm trying to keep my mic out of the picture. Let me know how the sound is. I was listening back to one of my, actually the second to last broadcast, and I just didn't like the sound because I was using this mic right here. And unless you're like right in front of it, I was fading in and out, and you guys weren't telling me that. So I'm using my, what do you call it? Yeti. My Yeti. So, but I don't, I don't want it right here. Just the tip. I don't want just the tip right there. So let's move this up a little bit. Okay. Wayne has done so much MacGyvering in the studio. I can't even tell you. Everything's like pivotable and switchable. It's cool. So hopefully this sound is better. I think I'm going to turn up the gain a little. You guys are going to have to let me know. But hopefully I shouldn't be fading in and out the way I was before. let me know. I can always end up putting the Yeti on this little swivel here that you guys can't see right here. But let me know. I haven't been happy with the sound. So anyway, let's do the YouTuber stuff. I need to get my little cord out of the way here. And let me find it because I switched around some stuff. They've updated this program and I'm really trying to learn the new features. So as usual, yeah, I wish you guys had let me know about that. I was listening. I'm going, every time I turned away, it was fine for Mike and I when we're right in front of the mics because we were so squeezed here. But when I don't have Mike sitting next to me, I'm very animated and I kept moving all around and it just wasn't working out. So, what was I going to say? Oh, please subscribe. And also, if you can, go over to Rumble and subscribe as well so that when I'm inevitably, and I'm also always reaching for my wine, when I'm inevitably thrown off of YouTube, you will be able to still follow me. I'm trying to figure out how to set up a stream to Rumble. Here's part of the problem. Like, I'm sure you all really care about all my technical problems, but I'm going to tell them to you anyway. Here's part of the problem. For those of you who don't do like streaming, most people who stream to multiple destinations, unless they're using something like StreamYard, they'll use a third-party software like OBS or Restream, which then you just send it to Restream, and then Restream uses its bandwidth to send it out to multiple locations. But Restream's expensive. It's like $550 a year. Then Ecamm, the program I use is for Ecamm Pro is like $400 a year. So it was costing me like $1,000 a year just to do these streams. Now Ecamm set up multi-streaming. So now I don't need Restream anymore. However, it relies entirely on my bandwidth. So that's why I don't stream to my secretary page anymore. That cut down on the bandwidth. I'd like to stream to Rumble, but that might mean cutting out other things, So I'm going to have to decide, I'm down in the basement. I'm not using Wi-Fi, but anyway, I'm sure you all really, really cared about that a whole lot. Oh, excuse me. I feel like I'm about to sneeze because I was moving a bunch of stuff around and it's dusty down here. Maybe it'll pass. I have photic sneeze reflex, so the studio lights are making me want to sneeze when I feel like I need to. Follow me on Twitter. Twitter's been fire, man. So Karen Ann Harlos on Twitter. And lastly, I would truly, truly appreciate it if you would support me on Patreon. That's patreon.com/Pink Flame of Liberty. It means the absolute world to me. If you're wondering why I'm streaming late tonight, I just got out of a convention oversight committee meeting. We've got some exciting things coming up. Some new, fresh ideas. Speaking of new, fresh ideas, there was just something that came to me, and this is moving into history. It's no secret that I didn't like the last LNC, to put it mildly. But I never disliked the past LNC more than I loved the LP. And what I am seeing with some, I'm just going to colloquially call them haters, is probably not the right term, but y'all know what I mean. The people who are just got like the frickin' California redwood shoved up their ass over the Mises Caucus. They hate the Mises Caucus or the current LNC or whatever it might be more than they love the party. There is such a huge difference, and there is such projection. And let me tell you, if your love of the party depends upon who's in leadership, nobody's going to like me for saying this, but see ya. Because I've been there. Listen, I got removed by that, or allegedly, by that past LNC, and I still stuck around and fundraised. So I don't want to hear the whining or the bitching or the nappy soiling. Really don't. Take that stinky shit somewhere else. Just saying. It used to be that people would say, oh, you hate the left more than you love liberty, or you hate the right more than you love liberty. Now it's all internal. And really, if that bothered you, there's a saying. The dog that yelped is the one that got hit with the stone. So maybe you need to do some self-reflection. And that's Mama's wisdom for the day. Speaking of wisdom and big words, Kathy, you're so funny. Anyway, so Wayne, we don't have TV at our house. We just use streaming stuff, like we'll watch YouTube or whatever. We do have Netflix, but we don't pay. We only pay for cable internet. We don't pay for cable TV. So he likes watching Jordan Peterson a lot. Stop worrying, those of you who don't like Jordan Peterson. So I'm coming down and here's Jordan Peterson going, oh crap, what was it? We need to, what did he say? Not visualize. It was something like realize the ontological transcendent. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, I know I use words like that too, but I'm like, my God. The ontological transcendent. Okay. Let's get on now to past history rather than what will be history. All of these caucus wars will be history in like 10 years. So you're living through it right now. Speaking of history, I am going to continue on the theme I started yesterday. That was the foundation for doing the CLC report card, for doing some criticism of Michael Knowles, and, believe it or not, to be taking a look at the alleged classical liberal party that Stuart Flood wants to start. Because let me tell you, I am going to just be breaking out the popcorn because I'm reading what he's writing, and all I can think is, my sweet summer child. That's about all I can think. It's like, really? Really? Oh, don't I have a sound effect for that? Yeah, really? Okay, now let's get back to 1975. And yes, this is sangria. We make homemade sangria. So we buy that boxed wine. I know that's like complete white trailer trash, but we buy that boxed wine and then we put rum in it and float a bunch of fruit in it for a few days. And so this is a white sangria made out of Moscata. And it is fantastic. I do have to thank Kara Schultz for introducing me to Moscata. I truly love it. Okay. Is this where we ended up? Were we supposed to be doing on things maybe getting better? Let me look. Yep. This is where we're supposed to be. So, for those of you who may have forgotten where we are at. Oh, I just ended with a preposition. I know it's perfectly okay to end with a preposition, but it still just grates on me. We are right here. No, we're not. We are right here. Things may be getting better. So this is what we're going to cover today. And it's right before the last page. So there was a lot to cover. But remember, we are going to be going back and retrieving all of those articles that I circled. And if you remember, I circled a lot of articles. So there's a lot to go over. Okay, let's go back to this other screen. See, this fancy software I have that I'm finally learning how to use. And you want to know what I figured out? I wish I could show you this, but up at the top, like I can see how many people are watching. And if you click on it, it tells me where people are watching from. So most people are watching on YouTube. Thank you very much. I've got one Twitch watcher. And nobody is watching at the moment on Twitter. That's interesting. Does it tell me where the likes are from? And the likes are from YouTube. Hit like. Hit like. I get to see it right away. Hit like. I'll wait. I'll wait and have a sip of sangria. I know how many of you are watching on YouTube. I know that you could just hit the like button. And maybe you're not in front of your computer. But if you are in front of your computer, there's like no excuse. So I know who you are. And I'll come for you. I'll haunt you in your dreams. Things may be getting better. Let's see how in 1975 they thought things may be getting better. And by the way, that picture you saw when I showed you the LP News, that was David Nolan. And it was photo by David Long, in case you were interested. I do see I got another like. I'm keeping an eye on you. All right, Political Perspective by David Nolan. And I don't like these curly pages, so I'm just going to use the one and do the Rush Limbaugh thing there. All right, it is fashionable in libertarian circles to be a doomsayer. Boy, is it. My God. And I see so many more likes coming in. Thank you. Boy, do we like being doomsayers. Like, if being Eeyore was a profession, man, we libertarians would be the highest paid bitches, man. Okay. Anyway, that was a bit of a little rant, wasn't it? That should be extracted out. Almost any time libertarians get together, it's a bitch fest. Let's see. Almost any time libertarians get together, they begin regaling each other with predictions that within 6 months or a year or 2 years, there's going to be a terrible economic collapse, a violent revolution, or a Hitlerian dictatorship in the United States. Oh, if you can't laugh at yourself, baby dolls, I don't know. That's funny. I don't care who you are. That's funny. I'm not quite sure why this is the case. I am. But anyway, David Nolan wasn't. But the phenomena is indisputably there. And I will confess that I have helped to fuel the fires myself. On occasion. On occasion. Remember, this, though, was back before, you know, the internet, where we could just really just work ourselves up into like this crowd lather. But let me tell you, libertarians are resourceful because I have the historical archives. And as I told you before, there are boxes of just letters that libertarians would get upset about something that someone said or did, and rather going on Twitter and getting the instant satisfaction, here they are with their IBM Selectrics. And they actually put a stamp on that bitch and sent it to national headquarters. Oh my God, you should see some of the rants. And some of it are people that are still in the party today. Like, I can't name names. Hold on 1 second. You know me, I'm always paranoid about my teeth or my nose. Wanted to make sure I didn't have a bat in the cave. But anyway, I'm reading some of these letters and I see the signature and I'm like, I know them. You know that meme of the cat furiously typing? Oh my God. It's my tribe. It's my tribe. I think that perhaps our tendency towards playing Cassandra were acquired from our erstwhile comrades in arms, the conservatives. Conservatives are always promulgating. God, the language was much more elevated then, you've got to admit. Like, how often in just libertarian, like, emails or whatever, like, they come up. Like, so many words already used here, you just don't hear anymore. Erstwhile. Promulgating. There was another one that I thought was really good here. Regaling. Like, you just don't hear those types of words anymore. It's just not ontologically transcendent. Okay. And considering the fact that political history in the last 4 decades has recorded little but defeats and retreats for their cause, they are probably justified in their cause for their pessimism. Okay. I will submit, however, that we are not justified in such a bleak outlook. Au contraire, mon frère. Okay. In fact, I will assert that from our viewpoint, things are getting better rather than worse. This sounds like some serious copium. On balance, and that prospects have never been brighter for a renaissance of liberty. Oh, speaking, though, of optimism, I finished. Oh, crap, I need to upload it. I just realized I did upload it, but I haven't put it on Patreon yet. Patreon.com/Pink Flame of Liberty. I'm uploading the final installment to The Problem of Political Authority. Just finished chapters 12 and 13. Chapter 13 is From Democracy to Anarchy. And I just get a little tingle every time I even say that phrase. So if you'd like to hear my thoughts, my final thoughts on this book, you need to be a patron. So if that doesn't tempt you, I just don't know. I just don't know. So I finally finished it. It's one of the best libertarian books I have ever read. And hopefully that's saying a lot. But excellent, excellent book. Please go and check it out. What we are going to be covering next on Patreon is Michael Malice's The Anarchist Handbook. That was up on deck next. Hopefully it won't take as long. There was just so much drama and stuff going on with the LP that it took me a while to get through The Problem of Political Authority. But what a great book. And Wayne's a vociferous reader now. I passed it on to him because each day I live in hope that he'll finally see the truth and just stop embracing minarchy. But anyway, we have some really interesting discussions in this house. I'll be blah, 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 blah. And he's like, yeah, but whatever. And I go, you're inconsistent. And he's like, I know, I'm okay with that. And I just wanted to bang my head against the wall. If you're listening, Wayne. H. Reardon, did you like it? Listen, my highlighter ran out. I had multiple highlighters in that book. And the way the book ended was perfection. And actually, if you guys aren't on my Twitter, I want to read you a couple quotes from that book that I put on Twitter that I just thought were so good. I just like his writing style. You know, some people's writing style just resonates with you and others don't. I just love the way he words things. And I did 2 quotes from the final chapter on my Twitter feed today. So let me see if I can find it. I tweet way too much. I do. Hold on, let me find it here. Okay, so first quote. He said, how can we avoid the kinds of disputes between governments that lead to war? Here is one possibility. We could eliminate our government. It's just, it's perfection. And then a few, the end of the next paragraph, he says, while the state proudly declares itself our one great protector against a hostile world, it is that very protector, above all, that makes the world hostile to begin with. Ah. It's just excellent. I couldn't have worded it better. And if I had tried to word that, it would have been about 200 words longer. Because I am not a member of the Brevity Caucus. I will submit, now we're continuing. I will submit, however, oh no, we did the bleak outlook. Okay, strong assertion. A strong assertion? Question mark? Perhaps, but let us look at some facts. And to grab the bull by the horns. David, are you grabbing some bull by their horn without their consent?
Boom, chicka, wow, wow.
Let's grab those bulls by their horns. Let us begin with the economic situation. Now, I'm the first to admit that there are a lot of things wrong with our economy. Thanks to the feds, we have both inflation and recession at the same time. That sounds familiar. Uncle Sam is ripping off over $300 billion from the American people each year, and meddling bureaucrats are regulating the American businessman to a fare thee well. Nonetheless, I will maintain that our economic system is still basically in reasonably good health. I don't think David Nolan would be saying that today. And that a lot of libertarians are getting gold. Gold. That's a word I've never heard before. Do y'all know that word, gold? G-U-L-L-E-D? I've got to look that up. Like seagull? Gold? I have a good vocabulary. I've never heard that word. Gold. Let me look this up at dictionary.com. Oh, it's like to fool or deceive. Oh, so maybe that's where gullible comes from. You are able to be gold. I just learned something new. That is a fantastic word, gold. It sounds too much like gold with my accent, but gold. Like, I never used to think I had an accent, but Wayne makes fun of the way I say things all the time, like water. He's like, water? I'm like, yeah, water. He goes, you mean, how do normal people say it? What? Water? Water? Is that how normal people say it? I go, water. It's water. Anyway, gold. 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 I like it, though. It's difficult for me to say, but I like it. Okay. Where were we at? So let's look at some facts. Item 1. The great hyperinflation that certain libertarians are always seeing just around the corner has not materialized. To the contrary, the inflation rate today is is well below that of a year ago. Admittedly, it may well rise again, but the continuous accelerating exponential inflation predicted by the prophets of doom has not materialized. Hopefully that will be the case today. And some people, I think, are actually disappointed when Armageddon doesn't come. That's also another weird thing about libertarians. I think we actually get bummed out that when the worst doesn't happen. We're like, you know? Come on, y'all can admit it. That's how we be, right? We be that way? We do. Item 2, 4 years ago, the great pretender imposed wage and price controls. And that is actually what was the birth of the Libertarian Party. I believe it. Everyone says it was taking off the gold standard. No, it was the announcement that wage and price controls were coming. And many libertarians predicted this will be the end. It wasn't. The controls didn't work and almost everyone realized it, so they were abandoned. Now again, I will admit that there are still far too many regulations shackling our productivity, but the point is that the American economy today is less controlled than it was in 1972, and there is no evidence that we are going to have broad-scale Nixon-type controls as a permanent policy. Boy, were you naive. Like I said, I feel... Do you feel the way I feel? Isn't that like a Peter Frampton song? You know, like, you know what song I'm talking about anyway. When Stuart Flood, with his new classical liberal party, that he's going to keep it pure. And that is what's so funny to me, is that you'll always hear from like the CLC types, oh, you know, the more Mises type people or the more Rothbardians, you're purists, you're gatekeepers. But the one guy who says he's running off to start a classical liberal party, the one of his like top 5 priorities is purity. Don't you just find that fucking delicious? It's such projection on the part of the opposition. It really is. We, my friends, or as I said when I was doing that video about Dave Casey, fellow assholes, We, fellow assholes, have been gaslit. We've been gaslit by the moderates for years. And the radicals have pretty much been gaslit out of existence. And many libertarians, oh, we did that. Okay. Now I will admit, there are still far too many regulations shackling our productivity. But the point, we already did that. Blah. Item 3, the legalization of gold ownership. 3 years ago, when the LP held its first convention, Americans were forbidden to protect themselves from inflationary monetary schemes by purchasing gold. Today, they have that right. Okay, well, that's good. Item 4, government taxes and spending. If you look back 20 years, you will find that the federal budget consumed approximately 18% of the GNP, while state and local spending took another 8% or so, for a total of 26%. What is it now? Somebody do a quick, ask Dr. Google, what is it now? I'm curious. By 1965, 10 years ago, the feds were taking 19% and their little brothers about 10%, for a total of 29%. Today, the figures are approximately 23% and 12%, for a total of 35%. In sum, the share of our productivity that is being stolen from us by the government has increased less than 10%, from 26% to 35% in 20 years. That still sucks, dude. I don't know why you're optimistic about that, but I'm curious, what is it now? What is it now? To be sure, that's far too much. In theory, as you become wealthier, you should spend proportionately less on basics. And if it confined itself to protection, government would be taking well under 15% of our productivity rather than 35%. Yet the trend toward proportionally larger government is accelerating. Then why are you optimistic? However, we have a long way to go before we reach the point of no return. Do you think we've reached the point of no return? I'm very curious. Like, some days I do think we have, and other days I don't. I'm just curious. There's something new I learned about the program that I want to try. So I'm going to use JJ's comment actually as an experiment. So I'm going to put you on the screen. Oh, I think I've done this. So your comment is in pink, but I can, it turns out, like, I can make your name in pink, and I can do, like, I can change the font and stuff like that. So, like, oh, that looks super cute. You probably won't like it, though. But let's try this. Okay, let's put your comment back on screen, JJ. See, look. See how I changed it? So you got a pink name and yellow text in felt marker font. So that's a new thing this program can do. I don't know. I think that's pretty cute. I don't know how you feel, but I think that's pretty cute. I just remembered that I needed to check that. And also, window, camera switcher. There it is. Okay, I only have one camera now. Oh, that is pretty cool. They've added a lot of new features, and I've been watching these tutorial videos, and I keep forgetting to try shit out. Oh, let me... Oh, I see why. I want to pull down. There we go. Now we can see. JJ's like, meh. He's always like that. He's like, meh. He's trying to neg me again. JJ, you know you're negging me. I'm too used to it. You've already made me cry too many times. Oh my God. I just had a flashback to that morning. Oh, when was it? It was like September 9th, 2021. JJ's like, you got to get your ass out of bed. You got to start writing your appeal. And I'm like, whoa, leave me alone. Okay. You were so mean. Okay. But where were we at? All right. Point of no return. Most other industrialized nations are far more heavily burdened in this respect than we are. And so far, they've survived. At the rate we're going, I submit that we have adequate time to turn things around. With the government share of the GNP increasing by less than 1% per year, we are not yet on the verge of the final takeover by Big Brother. But what about now? But what about now? So much, okay. Where I forgot where so much for the economic situation. It is far from rosy, but I think I've demonstrated that it's nowhere near as bad as many doomsayers make it out to be, and that in some respects it is actually improving. And that's the bad news. The good news is that in almost all areas other than economics, things are getting visibly better with every passing year. I wonder if you would think so now, with people like totally contradictorily saying that, you know, kids can consent to, you know, permanently, like, oh, never mind. We're not even going to get into just like the utter incomprehensibility of the modern left when it comes to kids. Consider foreign policy. Ukraine. And look where we are today versus the situation only 3 years ago. Now remember, they're just coming out of the Vietnam War, so I can see why he's optimistic. Today, the United States is not at war. There is no draft, and we have less troops overseas than at any time since 1941. That is okay, dude. In sum, we now have a foreign policy that is de facto closer. Now, you guys are going to get triggered by this word. I know people today are going to say, non-interventionism is not the same as isolationism. The early party did not believe that. The early party called itself isolationist, and its position is the same position that it is today. They just changed terminology. And I do think non-interventionist is a better descriptive word, but all they did was change the word. They didn't change any of the meanings. The early LP called itself isolationist. I don't like it any more than you do, but that's what they did. So you're going to see that in one moment now, because he is saying something good that he think is good. So he said, in sum, we now have a foreign policy that is de facto closer to isolationism than it has been for 35 years. And the American people have made it perfectly clear that's the way they want it. Next, let's look at what might be called the erosion of authority. Now, in that, we are doing fantastic right now. Distrust of the corporate bought media is at an all-time low. People hate rulers. When are they just going to learn we don't need or want them? Thanks to Watergate in Vietnam, we have seen a president forced from office, hitherto clandestine. Hitherto clandestine. See, we don't use these words anymore. Operations of the FBI. Boy, if David Nolan could see the FBI today. And the CIA exposed to the light of day, and the creation of a massive public distrust of government, all of which are eminently desirable developments from a libertarian viewpoint. But they started to trust government more, and that's why we ended up with them freaking locking us in our houses, and nobody, nary, that's another word we don't use enough, nary a peep to be found. The liberal pundits are bemoaning the fact that it is now damn near impossible for anyone to govern effectively. Be ungovernable, go to lp.org, click that opening banner. We need to make that number 1. Let's go see where it's at right now. It's number 2 right now. It would be such a great convention theme. Just think of the memes and the logos and the merchandise we can do. Like, it's a capitalist paradise, that convention theme. So let's go to lp.org. I'm on another screen. And let's see where it's at right now. Last I checked, it was at $1,000, which is exactly half of what the first place one is. But that's good. Like, we're still in the beginning of this. That puts it like, oh, a new one just came up because you could still submit themes. But let's see. Oh, I think I hit the wrong one. No, becoming governable. Okay, it's still at 1,000. We need to get that up. Go to lp.org. Come on, even if you just throw $10 to it. Before the end of the show, please let me see become ungovernable. Get higher. Like, I would rather you go and do that than give me a super chat. And I love me some super chats. But I want to go and see where the one that was number 1 is at now. Give me one moment. Nope, it's still the same. So we are at exactly half. LP.org, it's the opening banner. Come on, let's get, by the end of this show, become ungovernable up there. But if for some reason you don't want to do that, for some reason you just don't want to donate, send me a super chat. I'll take it. Yeah, merchandising is where the real money is. And Nathan, oh my God, that is so merchandisable. Okay. Now, where were we? But as far as I'm concerned, that's just peachy. Government should be kept as weak as possible, and a good, healthy distrust of those who govern us is to be encouraged. But perhaps the most important development from our standpoint is the change in the political situation. 3 short years ago, the two-party system appeared to be an almost impregnable fortress. It still is. Sorry, dude. Those laws we talked about last time, they kept the duopoly in power. Nixon was riding high, and nobody paid much attention to new party advocates. Today, the Republican Party is a shambles, and it seems that everyone is talking about a possible major third party. And increasingly, a lot of that talk is about us. In less than 4 years, the Libertarian Party has grown to the point where we are one of only 2 so-called minority parties that are treated seriously by the national communications media. And I will suggest that this is because they sense that libertarianism is an idea whose time has come. They sense... Okay. I would really love to be that optimistic. But people wonder why, on the hashtag national divorce train. It's because I have come to the realization that the slogan that most people are libertarian and just don't realize it is just not true. It is just not true. It's not me, it's you. I don't mean it to you guys, but really, everyone can get what they want. We just need to, you can have the ottoman. I'll take the love seat. Like, have the couch and the ottoman. I don't care. Now, of course, I'm going to wax philosophical a little bit again, too. If everyone just realized that under a true libertarian nation, you could still have your little statist enclaves. But they're not going to realize that. That would require everyone to embrace libertarianism and then go forth, sally forth into their particular self-governing enclaves, whatever you want to call it. But they have to come to libertarianism first. And they're not going to do that. So, what fellowship hath porcupines with sheep? That's the realization that I've come to. I would rather it be the other way. That everyone just embrace freedom and say, you want to know what? As a free person, I would like quite a bit of government. You too? You too? Well, let's all get together and, form our little thing. It's not going to happen that way. I wish it would. They sense it is because we are not kooks or paranoids. Speak for yourself, dude. I'm a paranoid kook. We do not make outrageous statements. I make outrageous statements all the time. Speak for yourself, dude. and accusations. We are the only political group in the country that is consistent in its positions. That is true. In sum, the Libertarian Party has what it takes to be a winner: the ideas, the people, and a receptive audience. Let us therefore abandon the defeatist rhetoric of the conservatives and speak instead of the libertarian future that is surely coming. This was 50 years ago. Our ideas are not wrong. It's not as if we didn't try. And I will continue to try. No matter... I'm just beginning to think, well, more than beginning to think, I'm fairly convinced it's just going to happen a different way. And I do think the political process is important into getting there. For the question is not whether we will be victorious, but when. And I firmly believe that if we show confidence in ourselves and in our cause, we will achieve freedom in our time. Well, it didn't happen in David, in David Nolan's time. He passed away in 2010. Which, like, is such a huge regret of mine because that was 4 years before I became a libertarian. Oh my God, it would have meant the world to me to meet David Nolan. But I have met both of his widows. And, you know, that was both deep honors as well. Yes, I am a member of the Paranoid Kook Caucus, and I'm too paranoid and kooky to let anyone else in. You look fucking suspicious. Nope, out with you. Off with your head. Okay, that's it for today. Class dismissed. I think that's enough. And I haven't even had that much wine. I've only had like that much. But I have some LP work to do. You want to hear something crazy? I do all kinds of crazy shit. Wayne will tell you. So I don't sleep well. I've got terrible insomnia. So anyway, I was up at 4, and I decided at 4 that I was just going to completely clean and rearrange the office. Wayne gets up and he's like, what the hell happened in here? But now I've got this nice scanning surface just ready to do some historical shit. And I filled up, I shit you not, 5 bags full of shit for Goodwill. And when I say bags, I'm not talking like little, like, you know, Publix bags or whatever grocery stores in your area, Piggly Wiggly. I'm talking like hefty trash bags. Off to Goodwill. Well, okay, everyone, that is it for today. I'm going to go look, though, see if you guys, you still have a chance. Go to lp.org and let's get Become Ungovernable up more. Am I going to be disappointed? Am I going to go look and be disappointed? Oh! You can do it later. There's still time. There's still time. Let's get it over 1,000. All right, y'all. Have an awesome night. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. And I don't know if it'll be history or not. It depends on how much time I have to prepare other things. See ya. Bye-bye.
What you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business, not because they want to do